I'm gonna play Stardew Valley and add one mod every day for the next 30 days to see if I can complete these challenges. Obtain the Galaxy Sword, upgrade my house, get a shed, get a coop, make as much net gold as possible, reach the bottom of the mines, all while having an aesthetic farm. Is all this possible to do in only 30 days? Let's find out. I'm giving myself look up anything and UI info too sweet to start. So let's see how I do. I woke up on day 1 ready to start the day. Then I turned back around to go inside because I forgot my parsnip seeds. Today's mod is this farm map, Jen's Small Beach Farm. The goal of the day was to clear out some space on my farm. I crafted a chest, planted my seeds, and nearly ran out of stamina and it wasn't even noon. I spotted some coconuts in the trees on my farm and I thought I was gonna be saved. But alas, I had no idea how to retrieve them within my stamina limit, so I decided to come back for that. I spent the rest of my day introducing myself to the townspeople and trying to find a snack. The garbages didn't have anything tasty, and all I was able to forage was this one horseradish, until I came across all of these spring onions. I had to eat all 20 to finish up some more farm tidying, then was forced to retire for the night at 10:30 because I was all out of energy. But I did level up 1 in foraging. Day 2 and my new mod is Early Start, where you get a 1-minute speed boost every morning. However, I feel like I wasted this speed boost just walking around my farm, and I'm starting to regret this mod as my day 2 choice, but maybe it'll come in handy another day. I was finally able to collect a coconut, but it turns out that they don't fulfill any hunger points, so I knew I'd be destined to search for food again. It didn't take long, and by 10:30 I was almost all out of energy, so I knew I had to come back to clear my farm later. I picked up my fishing rod from Willie, caught my first fish, and actually had some luck with the garbage, finding a cave carrot. I introduced myself to more townspeople and was able to find 2 leeks in the mountains. I used this energy to keep on clearing my farm, but it didn't last long and I was forced to sleep, leveling up my foraging again. Day 3, I had an idea. So to set it up, I gave myself Move It. This mod makes it possible to move objects on the map. After spending a bit of time learning how it works, I was ready to take on the day. Luckily, it was raining, but that also made me confused on what I should do first. I ended up running around trying to forage, yet I kept all of my tools on me and didn't make room in my hotbar. I made a bit more space for crops, then headed back into town, checking all of the garbages and finding some delicious cookies. Feeling satisfied, I was ready to make my first move with Move It. I knew that there was a gift behind here, but I forgot what it was. I'm not sure when I'll be able to cash this in, but I'm glad I have it nonetheless. I purchased seeds from Joja and headed back to plant them. I tried to fish and realized I'm hopeless with the minigame, so I decided to clear my farm instead. I used Move It to gather all the big items on the beach and out of my view. Then I had my farmer in bed by midnight. Day 4, I added my first expansion, the Forgotten Woods, and I think this one's gonna be a game changer. I did my daily stuff on the farm and headed straight to the secret woods. Using Move It, I was able to access this new expansion, but I didn't realize how swarmed by monsters I'd be. But the struggle was so worth it because I was soon the owner of 2 pink cakes. But the foraging was only beginning. I had to make a stop back at home to empty my pockets before I could loot some more. I thought I wasn't gonna make it for a moment because of these pesky bats, but I was able to uncover so much loot. I think this expansion is seriously gonna help me achieve my goals. But I really need a sword, and quick. When I was home, I spent the rest of my day derping around and finally ended the day with some late night weed whacking. Then I tucked my farmer into bed at midnight. I leveled up my foraging again and I made a lot of money. Day 5, I added cornucopia for more crops. I've never played it before, so I wasn't sure what the best crops were for profit, but cabbages were quite expensive, so I just tried those out. Oh, and I finally upgraded my backpack. Also, the boulder was removed, so I was finally able to get up into the mines, get my first sword, and do some caving. With my luck being well today, I had a successful time, happily slaying slimes and gathering coal. The pancakes I grabbed earlier from the garbage definitely seemed to help as well. When I first got home, I sold my goods, planted my cabbage, and was already sleeping by 11 p.m., forgetting that I wanted to make my first furnace. But I leveled up my farming and mining skills. On day 6, I discovered the coolest mod called WaterBot. Instead of watering my crops manually, the WaterBot can now do it for me. It just automates the process so that I can just click once and watch my little farmer run around and water all my crops. It makes it so much less monotonous, and it won't finish the job if you don't have enough stamina to do so. My first task of the day was to find Elliot and complete my first help wanted request, yet I didn't have time to wait around all day for him. Noticing my luck was poor, I decided it best to head back to the Forgotten Woods, and this time I had my sword. It was truly a successful haul. haul, filling my pockets to the brim with stuff. When I finally returned, I tried to chase down Elliot to finally complete the request, but I was too slow and he was already home for the night. With a sigh, I headed up to Pierre's, noticed a new request was posted, and was able to track down Caroline and hand her a potato, completing my first task. Then I went over to the community center to begin the quest to meet the wizard, headed home, and finally made my furnace. I ended the night smelting some copper and heading to bed early, not forgetting to give little Nando a pet before bed. On day 7, I added chests anywhere, and it was a wonderful sight. You can toggle the option to access your chests off while in the caves if you'd like to. I am seriously loving Waterbot. I think it's my new favorite mod I've tried so far. I then headed off into town to purchase a bunch of seeds, trying some more new crops from Cornucopia. Even though my luck was not looking too good for the day, I still wanted to get back into the caves and slay 10 slimes so that I can finally get into the Adventurers Guild. Despite my luck, I was able to find some pretty good loot too. This cave was full of copper. I got to level 15 when I decided to turn back and start from level 1 so that the flying bugs weren't attacking me. When I finally slayed my 10th slime, I went to the Adventurers Guild and purchased a femur, but I thought it was a sword. I've never used a club before. I went home, planted my seeds, and realized after smelting my copper that I finally had enough for my first upgrade. With that in mind, I headed to bed and managed to increase a level in foraging, combat, and mining today. Day 8's mod certainly isn't necessary, but doesn't it make the grass look so much cuter? This is Lumisteria short flowery grass, and I just love it. Today, I'm going to attempt to get a coop so that the chickens can enjoy this cute grass mod. I went straight to the Forgotten Woods to try and forge some valuables, and luckily I was able to fill my pockets with more loot. I even found a secret area where I got a new level 4 sword, which is seriously exactly what I've been needing. I realized I was running low on time and rushed over to Clint's to begin the upgrade processing on my pickaxe. Then ran, which right now is a slow walk, all the way to Robin's and began the process of constructing a coop on my farm. I was about to go to Marnie's to buy some chickens, but I forgot my coop wasn't built yet, so I checked for forageables on the beach. I wanted to unlock this bridge, but I didn't have quite enough wood, so for the rest of the day, I just chopped down trees in Cinder Sap Forest. Then I went to bed after a nice productive day. Day 9 was a monumental day for my farmer. In the morning, I spent time clearing space for more crops. Then I found a washed up box with some burgers on my beach. After that, I headed off to the Forgotten Woods for another day of looting. It was all shaping up to be a great day, and this new sword of mine was really coming in handy. Then I rushed out and hopped over to Pierre's to purchase seeds. I tried some new ones this time too. At this point, I was going to head home, but remembered my unfinished business by the tide pools. I was able to successfully fix up this bridge, leading to a bunch of nice forageables. And then it was time to really celebrate this Joja Day. I finally purchased my Joja membership, and to celebrate, I had a nice cool can of Joja Cola. But with today's mod, Better Joja Cola, it adds amazing buffs that all last for 5 minutes. So I think I'm gonna have to start stocking up on the Joja. I ran home, planted my seeds, used the best Waterbot mod to water my crops for me, and I went to bed early again at 10 p.m. ready to take on the next day. And I was able to choose my first profession for foraging, and I went with Harvester. Day 10, and it's another wonderful day in Pelican Town. Today I got skip fishing minigame mod, so I'm really hoping I can make some serious cash in the fish department soon. For today, I just tested it out and caught 1 sunfish. I am loving the Better Joja Cola mod so much that I had to stock up at Joja Mart before picking up my copper pickaxe and making my way over to the caves. My goal was to get as far as I can from level 15, and I was even able to score some good loot on the way. This little guy gave me a diamond, and I got my first ring, a small magnet ring. I was doing so well in the caves, and it was feeling great using my level 4 sword that I obtained in the Forgotten Woods. However, time was ticking. I was so close to level 40 that I decided to keep on going and see if I could make it. But as I saw the time was dwindling, I used my Chests Anywhere mod to put my valuables away, finally achieved level 40 in the caves, and on my walk home, I passed out. But it was certainly a successful day. Finally, it was the day for one of my favorite mods, Automate. I can place my machines next to the chest and it will process the items inside. So I placed my copper and coal in here, and I'll just be able to let these machines do its thing from here on out. Apparently, my luck was good today, but as I ventured to Clint's to upgrade my next tool, I accidentally upgraded my hoe instead of my axe. Moving on, I ran over to Marnie's to purchase my first chickens. I named them Nerp, Bok, Brock, and Hyakimaru. So I ventured to greet the little guys and built them a nice safe place to roam around in. Then I went to Robin's to purchase a silo. I realized I wanted to make the most out of my luck today, so it was back to the caves. I managed to progress 10 levels, getting a little bit more scared of my damage and feeling slightly unprotected. However, upon reaching level 50, I suited up with some new Tundra boots. Making my way home, I ended the day with some menial task work, planting 3 random seeds and lighting up my farm, wishing to unlock the glow light ring recipe. Then I went to bed by 12:30 and leveled up my mining. On day 12, I woke up, harvested and watered my crops, said hello to my chickens, and headed straight into town to purchase some seeds. I went with dill and noticed my cash pile was seriously dwindling. I've got to test out today's new mod at the river, where I have implemented visible fish, and oh my gosh, it's so much cuter than I could have expected. After catching a fish, I scurried my way over to the Forgotten Woods to make the most of my bad luck day. I certainly found luck there with many high-value items. I ended up with 2 pink cakes, wine, ancient fruit, many flowers, and so much more. I popped it all into my shipping container with chests anywhere and went about my day. I figured it would be best to stock up on wood as I'll be upgrading my axe as soon as I can. So I chopped trees for a while. I also picked up Robin's axe, ready to hand it to her as soon as she finishes building my silo. I then remembered that Leah is the last NPC I need to meet, and seeing as it's Friday, I could greet her at the saloon. So I did just that. On my way home, I chopped down an extra tree, planted and watered my fresh new seeds, and spent the rest of my evening fishing on my farm, obtaining only trash and a river jelly. But I was excited about the jelly. I ended the night upgrading my level in fishing and farming. Day 13 was the egg festival, so I didn't add any mods today. After finishing my small farm tasks, I headed out to the event. I purchased some wasabi tubers as well as strawberry seeds and managed to win the egg hunt with 12 eggs, which I believe is my all-time highest record. But winning this event has given me an idea. So for tomorrow, I'll add an extra mod just to make up for lost mod time. So I tucked into bed nice and early, ready for another day of modding. On day 14, my bonus mod is a little mod called Hats Won't Mess Up Hair. Just be sure to put any hat you've already obtained into a dresser, then remove it so that it'll work. Isn't this so much better? So I completed my daily tasks and then found 3 parcels washed up on shore containing cherry bombs. It felt like the start to a really good day. I made my way into town to pick up my hoe. I had 4 copper bars and was hoping to find some copper ore in the geodes so that I can upgrade my axe, but the geode gods had other plans for me. Instead, I donated what I could to the museum and made my way over to Robin's. Here at Robin's, we can see our new mod, Vocab Word of the Day Furniture. I chose SAT version, but truly I don't even know what this other one is supposed to be, but I'll show you how it works when we return home tonight. For the rest of the day, I was steadfast on upgrading my axe, so I hopped into the caves, grabbed some copper, used chests anywhere and automate to get it firing into a bar, whilst I made my way over to Clint's again, and I arrived at the perfect time, beginning my axe upgrade. I then sold some old gear to the Adventurers Guild and journeyed into the mines where I made it to level 60. At home, I did a slight redecoration, placing my new bookshelf down. Each day you can click on it to learn a new word. Today's word was steadfast, so from now on out, we'll learn a new word each day. I hopped into bed and had a nice long sleep. Oh, and I leveled up in my combat skill. On day 15, our vocab word was illusory, and we are already halfway through this challenge. Honestly, I'm feeling a little bit worried about reaching my goals. I wanted to get a galaxy sword, but that feels worlds away at this moment, but the show must go on. After my daily tasks and a quick stock up on Joja Cola, it was time to see how awesome today's mod is. This is Auto Forager. No more need to click on forageable items, even shaking trees or digging a hoe spot if you have your hoe in your hotbar. I journeyed into the Forgotten Woods and had a wonderful time running around and looting the whole area. I ended up with a large amount of great loot that I crowded into my shipping bin. One little stop at home and I was back out into the caves. I feel like this is the last time I should be caving with a copper pickaxe, as I've been feeling a little bit slow, but I pushed through and made it to level 70, which is certainly a personal best for me. Spending so much time in the mines seems illusory when I think about how little money I get from these caving expeditions, and I'm not sure the progress I'm making towards my goals in here, yet I keep on coming back for more. I went to sleep feeling accomplished and managed to level up in farming, foraging, mining, and combat. On day 16, I woke up bright and early, noting my new vocab word, biased. I skipped out of my house and ran into my farm cave, ready to see my new mod, More Lively Farm Cave. I love that this cave is still super tiny, but it's been cutified. I may be biased due to my fondness of cute stuff, but I think this is the best farm cave mod out there right now, and you can swim too. After tending to my farm, I decided I was in desperate need of a shed. However, after running to Clint's to upgrade my pickaxe, I was short on funds, and potentially short on resources too. So I went over to Robin's to assess the fees related to building a shed, yet it slipped my mind that she's not even working on Tuesdays. So so I went to the caves to make more progress instead. But I remembered that I do not have a pickaxe at the moment and did the walk of shame all the way to the Forgotten Woods. At least in here, I can grab a bunch of forageables and some wood and hopefully gain enough funds to begin building my shed on the morrow. So after completing just that, my Joja juice buffs ran out around 10 p.m. and I didn't want to waste another beverage on just a few short hours, so I trudged my little farmer up to the house to get ready to sleep. On day 17, the word of the day was pacify. As I completed my farm tasks for the day, I considered my next moves. There are many options and ways I can go about completing my goals, and I'm certainly not a speedrunner, so I'm unsure if I'll be able to complete such tasks. However, a girl can dream. I made my way to Robin's to inquire about the shed. I found I was only 9 wood short from being able to afford the building, so after chopping Robin's tree, I commissioned her for her handiwork. Yet I didn't think this through enough and didn't have a spot ready on my farm for the building. It was finally time to explore the new mod of the day, and today we have more new fish. So it was just back to the fishing grind altogether. In the ocean, I caught these ladyfish, and then I journeyed to the river to fish with Elliot, and finally I explored the fish in Cindersap Forest Pond. My best fish of the day was worth 400 gold, so I wasn't too mad at that. I got carried away and overindulged in a bit too much fishing, exhausting myself, so I was forced to return home to pacify the exhaustion by going to bed. But I was pleased to see I got up to level 5 in my fishing profession. Day 18, and today's word is elucidate. I quickly ran into the house to focus on my farm chores, and when I finished, I became ready to test out today's mod. I chose faster preserves jars and easier kegs, yet I cannot use the kegs because I haven't unlocked the recipe yet. So I checked on my resources and realized I'm quite low on wood, but this is nothing that a quick tree chopping session can't fix. I collected enough for 3 preserves jars, and I handed my axe off to Clint for another upgrade. I'll elucidate my plan for choosing today's mod. I'd like to make some good profits within this next week to help me achieve some goals, and I believe converting my fruits into jams and jellies could do just that. So I headed off to the Forgotten Forest to grab all the fruits and veg that I could, and when I got home, I set up a temporary area for my jars, at least until my shed is complete. And using Move It, I was easily able to transport this chest to allow my automate feature to work. Suddenly, I became aware that I may have enough resources for a glowstone ring, and luckily I did. So I crafted up my ring and headed up to the mountains for some late night fishing. This new fish mod is certainly making fishing more fun. It's exciting to see what kind of fish I end up pulling up. As the day ticked on to a close, my pockets were full of fish, so I ventured back home and cozied up into the bed, ready for the next mod day to come. It's day 19, and the vocab word of the day is static. I was quite excited to start this day because I noticed my luck was really good. So after taking care of my daily farm work and moving my little jam setup into the shed, I set my sights on today's mod, buildable one-way minecart. At Robin's, I assessed the situation and searched my pockets for iron ingots. I moved my buildings around so that it makes a little bit more sense and began the building of my new mod. I'm not sure how long it takes to cook up, but I can't wait to see it when it's done. I wonder if I can only use it once a day or exactly how it works, I'm not sure. Then I popped into the caves for a quick dip. I was feeling static and weak in the caves as I've had this same sword for a while now, so I decided to check in at the Adventurers Guild to see if I could find something better. I was not successful in this mission, so I moved on. I remembered that I required more seeds for my farm, so I grabbed a bunch of onion seeds up here, planted them up, and ran all the way back up to the caves for some evening adventures. I managed to get up to level 90, and I received the obsidian edge sword, which is exactly what I needed. So, feeling pleased, I managed to make it back home before bedtime, tucked my farmer in to be greeted with 2 lovely choices for professions. On day 20, our word of the day is ideological. Today, it completely slipped my mind to even go into the caves where our new mod of the day is set up for us, so let's check that out tomorrow. What was it that was keeping my mind so occupied, you ask? Well, I was excited to pick up my axe, and since I've been so low on wood recently, I was excited to participate in a wood chopping marathon. Before that, I ventured into the Forgotten Woods for some forageables. My little jam setup has been quite profitable since obtaining the faster preserves jars mod, but I still wasn't satisfied. I needed more cash. Then I spent the rest of my day with my axe in hand. Now that it only takes 9 whacks of my axe on a tree, it's so much more satisfying. I've been thinking, perhaps instead of obtaining the galaxy sword, I'd like to unlock the greenhouse first. I just can't bear to see my farm looking so distracting with the ruins of an old greenhouse in place. From my ideological standpoint, it's so much more important to be cute than to have a good sword. After a satisfying day in the forest, I said goodnight to my farmer and went to bed. And I seem to have been greeted by fairies in the middle of the night. It's day 21, and the word of the day is berate. So after completing my daily tasks, I was so excited to see my completed minecart, but lo and behold, I need to unlock minecarts in order to use it. So this certainly changes my plans in the financial department, but I still think I can accomplish my goals. I ran over to Joja to give my first donation, and it felt oh so good. Now we can see what this minecart mod is about tomorrow. Next on the to-do list was today's mod. I finally decided it was about time to invest some mod points into our aesthetics. So I chose Nano's Countryside Buildings mod for alternative textures. Of course, I skipped on over to Robin's to purchase the paint bucket and made my way home to cutify my farm. It's certainly looking great, but it's got me thinking, do I have time to upgrade my house once and unlock the greenhouse? No matter, I'm certainly going to try. I was considering finding Pam to berate her about her habits, but I remembered I had to showcase yesterday's mod that I'd forgotten about. It's called Fantasy Weapons, and basically it adds some really cool looking weapons that you can find in the deeper levels of the mine. However, we didn't get lucky today, and although I did make it to level 100, obtaining my first star drop, and then finally to level 105 at the end of the night, I have so far seen no signs of any fantasy weapon. But we still have a few more days left. Skipping home, I put my farmer in bed, and she slept to the sounds of Joja Corp construction. And I got to choose my combat profession. On day 22, the vocab word was overshadow. I was really excited for today's mod. Remember back on day 18 when I obtained easier kegs? Well, today I've added earlier kegs so that I can actually begin to use them. But before this, I wanted to upgrade my house. So I hopped on over to Robin's and purchased the home upgrade. Now, I just wanted to make sure I can get the greenhouse. And if I can manage it, I'd also like a mill for aesthetics as well as an upgraded coop. The mayonnaise money has been coming in and I could certainly do with more of it. The time has come to set up our kegs, but I didn't want this mod to be too OP and overshadow all of our other money-making methods, so it was good I only had resources for 7 kegs and 2 extra preserves jars. I thought I was smart checking on my fruit cave for some goods to pop in these kegs, but unfortunately I only had 1 soul spice berry in there. I finally got the chance to test out this one-way minecart, and honestly I think it's a mod that's gonna be staying in my mods folder. I realized I needed much more forage for the kegs, so only one place comes to mind, the Forgotten Forest. So after looting to my heart's content, I popped the items into the chest for Automate to deal with, and I spent the rest of my evening enjoying a little bit of fishing in Cindersap Forest. And it feels like my Stardew dreams are starting to come true. Today's word is eloquence. On this day, I carried out my farm tasks and then immediately hopped on my minecart to go to the caves. Our new mod is various coal ore, and oh my, I was shocked landing in the caves today. The amount of coal and other ore that this mod adds is almost ridiculous, and I even got my first 2 prismatic shards. And you can configure it to have less nodes in your mod configure menu if you'd like. Now though, I had a great plan, and I also feel as though I could possibly reach my initial goal of obtaining a galaxy sword, but it won't be easy. However, in order to make my short-term plans come to life, I required a few more resources. I traveled to the museum to donate some items, and ran all the way to the Forgotten Forest. I was in desperate need of a snack at this point, and this cake was too tempting. The flavor had an unexpected eloquence, and my farmer was so pleased. I utilized the rest of my time chopping down trees for wood and gathering the few items that I could. As day turned to night, I crafted some bars and tried to get any extra wood possible before running home, selling off my items, and going to sleep. I managed to level up in foraging, farming, and mining. It's day 24, and the word of the day is stagnate. And it's also the Flower Dance Festival. I have the perfect mod for such an occasion. It was a peaceful morning watering my crops, petting my chickens, and selling off all the artisan goods I've created. But I quickly made my way to Cindersap to participate in the flower dance. First order of business was buying some flowers for decoration purposes. And then I interacted with Emily. It seems she's noticed my aura becoming stagnant, so she gave me an emerald with instructions to place it under my pillow to erase the bad energy. But then, look who we have here! This is the mod of the day. It's my Black Butler Sebastian dialogue and portraits mod. It's about time I found myself a handsome man to begin gifting in hopes of marriage one day. And better yet, he is no man but a demon. How wonderful! Unfortunately, he was too busy to dance with me, but he mentioned that perhaps he could become my dance instructor next year. Blushing, I watched him dance with Abigail, wondering what it would be like if it were me. When the dance was over, I still wanted to make the most of my day, so I headed into the mountains to chop some trees, and I even had the chance to fish a little. When I finally went home and got to sleep, I leveled up in fishing, and I got to choose my new profession. It's day 25 and the word of the day is labyrinthine. And now we're in an upgraded house. As always, I watered my crops, checked on my sweet chickens, and got my inventory prepped for the day. Today I added a bigger shed mod, and this one even adds an area for crops too. With only a few days left, each day is extremely crucial. I made my way to the caves in hopes of finding some valuable minerals, and oh my, I was not disappointed. I severely underestimated how much loot the various coal ore would add, and after just a quick caving expedition, I found 11 prismatic shards, along with a few diamonds that some monsters dropped. Excitedly, I moved it all into my shipping bin, ready to make some serious cash. I needed to restock on my Joja Cola addiction, so I did just that, and then made my way to the labyrinthine Forgotten Forest to forage more fruits and vegetables for my canning business I've got going on. I basically just ran through, grabbed as much as I could, and made it back home for the evening, enjoying my first night in my upgraded farmhouse. And oh my, I was a true breadwinner today. On day 26, our word of the day was benign, and wow, it feels so great to wake up with so much gold. With this being a rainy day, my farm chores were quite simple to complete, checking in on my chickens and dealing with my machines. It was finally time to make some huge progress in my goals. I sauntered over to town, caught a quick fish to pass time, and strolled into Joja like a baller ready to spend. And I unlocked the bus. I actually can't even believe it. After this, it was time to see the new mod of the day. I happily walked my way up to Robin's to check in on my demon future husband. He was still asleep but would soon be waking up, so I stayed nearby. Some may be afraid of dating a demon, but this one is quite benign. As soon as he was up, I clicked on him and I was able to get him to follow me around. How cool is this? This mod is Stardew Squad, and it's still in its beta phase, but it certainly is magnificent and worth playing already. To test out the abilities, I had Sebastian accompany me in the caves, where I felt protected by him as he killed the monsters around me. My handsome demon fought to keep the creepy guys away from me so that I could focus on my mining. But in particular, I was looking for rocks. I needed the resources for my next task. A long and successful day in the mines came to a close, and I brought Sebastian home with me, hoping he would stay the night. Although we didn't get much sleep as Joja Corp was quite loud while repairing the bus late into the night. On day 27, I got distracted by my hat this morning and forgot to check the word of the day. So I moved on to watering my crops that still had a chance of growing and checking in on my chickens. I journeyed to the mountains because I was curious about the cost of upgrading my coop, but I was a little low on resources, so I decided to wait. I grabbed my demon boyfriend and waltzed over to Joja, purchasing the remodeling of my greenhouse. My farm dreams really are coming true. Then it was finally time. Making our way over to the bus stop, I pulled out my prismatic shard, careful not to give it to Pam, and hopped on the bus. Then it finally happened. We have our galaxy sword! A quick test in the mines to see how it swipes, and we were already back on the bus journeying to Robin's. I'd almost forgotten about the mod of the day. Today we're looking at cheap catalogs, so I purchased the furniture catalog from Robin and the wallpaper catalog from Pierre for only 100 coins. At home, Sebastian tried to water the plants, but I had other plans. I used him as my muse whilst I decorated my farmhouse. I have 3 of my cute furniture mods, but the rest is just vanilla. I don't even have my favorite decorating mods such as wall decorations or precise furniture. That'll have to wait. I tucked into bed with a big smile on my face as Joja Corp was banging all night beside me building my greenhouse. But I couldn't be more pleased. On day 28, and again, I forgot to check the word of the day. When I left my house, I was greeted with Granny gifting me a garden pot, and I obtained a new recipe to craft a battery pack. This is part 1 of the new mods I've added today. Seeing as it's the last day of the season, I picked the crops that were ready, popped them into machines, said hello to my chickens, and began. First, I checked my resources to be able to craft a battery, and I realized I needed some regular gold ore. But a trip to the mines never hurt anyone. I tried to gather as much gold ore as I possibly could, and then popped into Robin's shop. I required the recipe for wooden lampposts, and I also moved my greenhouse back a bit. At home, I was able to craft 4 batteries, thus creating 4 lampposts. And now, check this out! This is alternative texture star lamps, and they are so cute. I required some grass to start making my farm look cute, so I went to Marnie's to purchase and realized I needed to do the walk of shame all over again to Pierre's, where the grass is actually available for purchase. I began the decoration process, but I realized I wanted another lamp for my chickens. So it was back to the mines for a late night caving session in attempts to find some copper. However, as it neared nighttime and my resources remained low, I recalled the fact that I can actually just purchase copper ore from Clint. Problem solved, so I ran back home and went to bed. On day 29, I finally remembered the word of the day. It is uniform. But oh gosh, I was all over the place today. I began by clearing my farmland, but in doing so, I messed up my cute fences and ended up having to redo them later on to ensure a uniform design. As it's summer now, I purchased seeds from Pierre's and skipped my way over to Robin's for a new mod. This is fairy fountains, and they're buildable from Robin, and they're instant. So I chose a few designs and went back and forth moving them into their rightful areas. And I decided to add a well as well. At home, I planted my seeds and headed back out again. I needed ore from Clint for another star lamp. I placed down some decorative hay bales in my birdhouse. I started smelting some quartz in preparation for something, and I crafted up one more star lamp. Everything was beginning to look super cute, but I realized I almost forgot to water my crops, so I rushed to complete the task before falling blissfully asleep. Day 30, and it's our final day. So I woke up, watered my crops, pet my chickens, and moved on to our final mod and last minute decorations. I converted all of my quartz into refined quartz and then turned it into crystal paths. I designed a cute layout for the rows on my farm and added a little bit of extra grass. Then I skipped a day to complete the well on my farm and changed its texture to be aesthetic. And just like that, I completed my challenge and exceeded my own expectations. Check out how much gold I was able to get within these 30 days. Out of all these amazing mods, a few had a standout performance from me. Waterbot was amazing, and I'll use it every time going forward. Typically, I cheat with CBG Cheat to have always watered crops, so this is a perfect middle ground where it wasn't too cheaty, but still easy for me. Better Joja Cola is sticking with me forever. It makes it so fun to pop over to the store and buy more colas. And when you finally unlock the Joja Cola machine, it will actually be worth using. Visible fish adds a really cute detail to the water, and its use case is great too, in knowing what fish are in the water and when. So I think I'll keep this mod. More Lively Farm Cave is really nice because the cave stays nice and small, yet makes it look so much better than just a dirty cave. Buildable one-way minecart is amazing. Sometimes I use farm maps that have minecarts within them, but when they don't, I'll be using this mod. Stardew Squad is fantastic and so much fun. To have your demon boyfriend or any other NPC protecting you in the caves is awesome roleplay. And the next things that are planned for this mod are so cool too. I never did end up finding any fantasy weapons in the caves, so I might continue to use this mod until I can actually start to find the weapons. That way I'll know if they're cool or not. I just can't believe it that in these 30 days we were able to obtain the Galaxy Sword, unlock the greenhouse, upgrade our house, get a shed, get a coop, make so much money, reach the bottom of the mines, and have an aesthetic farm layout. That was so much fun to do, and I hope you enjoyed watching.